everyone. My name is Anjali Subburaj. I'm Digital Commerce Chief Architect for Mars, the CPG giant. Stay-at-home rules imposed during the pandemic have sent digitization into turbo drive. Hence, this is the perfect time to talk about the next generation direct-to-consumer strategy. First, we shall look at the key elements of the strategy and then the types of technologies that can help implement such a strategy. So what is driving the next generation DTC strategy? Direct-to-consumer offers win-win situation to both brands and the consumers. Brands thrive by being able to engage directly with their consumers, by reducing costs, and by experimenting with the operating models. Managing customer lifetime value, or CLV, is critical for DTC profitability. It is important for brands to be able to stay engaged with their customers to increase their CLV, and they are finding ways to do so. Consumers, on the other hand, gain value and satisfaction by engaging with the brands through their brand loyalty programs that offer discounts and promotions and frictionless sales processes, such as ability to buy directly from social media posts. In some instances, even if a particular item is available at a cheaper cost from other channels, consumers are willing to pay more for the convenience, ethical values, premium experience offered by buying from the brands directly. Last but not the least, the pandemic has established urgent need for brands to sell and market directly to their consumers. This is now the new normal for the leading brand organizations across the globe. What are the key elements of the next generation DTC strategy? A well-designed DTC model is pivotal in how we market and sell our brands today. Such a model has consumer at its heart and center. Core commerce capabilities such as product catalog, pricing and inventory management, discounts and promotion, customer record management, order process management, etc., continue to be important in the modern commerce as well. The key is that such functionality now needs to be made available to numerous brands across multiple digital points across the globe with exceptional ease, convenience, speed, and consistency. Some of the brand organizations are looking to introduce newer commerce models such as subscription, which give repeat revenue to the brand and convenience to the customers. If the brands are to increase their sales revenue and maintain their existing consumer base beyond the pandemic, then they must engage with their consumers with consistent experience, not just via their e-commerce websites, but across all the digital touchpoints that the consumers use. A well-designed omni-channel DTC model is crucial for consumers to be able to engage with their brands. Omnichannel experiences include existing touchpoints such as in-store, social, web, mobile, and also the newer and emerging interfaces such as IoT, voice, chat, chatbots, etc. Experience-driven acquisition of consumers requires engaging content that is both functional as well as fun and exciting. Smooth checkout journeys supported by informational content are routinely available. However, they do not deliver the wow factor and hence are not sufficient for preventing consumers from heading elsewhere. To stay competitive, the brands must deliver engaging experience consistently to their consumers in a manner so that they can build an emotional connection with the brand and encourage brand loyalty. Valuable first-party data can be gained when brands engage with their consumers directly. Insights gained from such data can drive engagement across all channels, including retail outlets, to increase shelf space and visibility. Newer audiences can be identified through community engagements and sales converted through personalized targeted messaging. End-to-end consumer journeys can be framed within a personalized context. Brands must evolve from simply selling products to their consumers, followed with a basic support, to becoming trusted advisors who are intimately involved in their consumers' success. Next generation customer service is all about proactive pre and post sales interactions with the consumers. Instead of waiting for that phone to ring or an email to come in, brands must reach out to their consumers to address their needs. Community building is the bedrock of successful DTC brands. Hence, it costs about 5 times more to acquire a new customer compared to retaining an existing customer. Hence, nurturing consumer relationships and encouraging community engagement is likely to increase the all-important CLV for the brands. So how does it all work together? Meet Jane, our young millennial friend. Jane would like to treat her close family and friends to personalized boxes of gourmet chocolates. Let us follow Jane through her shopping journey. Now, there are many premium chocolate brands from where to select. However, Jane is keen to buy from the brand that is most value driven. So Jane goes to an online community forum where she's a member to find out what people are saying. She gets some pointers from them. Then she goes and accesses a brand website of a particular brand. She likes what she reads. She is impressed by the sustainability practices adopted by this brand. Jane decides to buy there and then. She's pleasantly surprised to find a buy now button on this brand website. When she clicks buy now, she's presented with an endless aisle with multitude of colors and flavors available to choose from. There are various payment options and delivery options also available. Jane decides to put through her order, confirms it, and chooses home delivery option for a delivery of parcels to her home few days later. Next day, on her way to work, Jane realizes that she's not going to be at home on the day of the delivery. So she opens a chat with this friendly Jim from the brand company and asks him for advice. Jim tells her that she can opt for an in-store pickup and that there is a pickup point close to her address. Jane confirms that he can change the delivery option. All done, and she's about to close the chat when Jim asks her that whether she would like to buy some dark chocolate, as they have just recently released a new flavor. Now, dark chocolate is Jane's weakness and she can't resist. So she orders some for herself to be collected along with other parcels. Few days later, on her way back from work, Jane goes to this pickup point, collects her parcels from a kiosk in the store, and brings all the chocolates home. Now, Jane is sitting on the sofa, relaxing with a cup of tea, with her pet cat, TB, snuggled next to her. Jane then tweets, "Oh, my poor TB, I forgot to get anything for her. Are there no treats for cats out there?" Guess what? A couple of days later, Jane has email in her mailbox with glossy brochures of treats for cats. And Jane goes on another shopping journey, and within no time, she has now got a personalized box of treats for her beloved TB2. Now, this is just one example of a consumer journey. There are several such consumer journeys possible with various permutation and combinations of these and other digital touchpoints. The important point to note is that all these touch points must provide a consistent and a seamless experience to the consumer. So let us look at the types of technologies that can help implement such strategy. There are basically three key patterns of choices to be made. Late 1990s to early 2000 saw emergence of large e-commerce platforms which provided web shop in a box type of solution. Such standalone platforms were convenient, easy to implement, and easy to maintain as well. They were architected to serve the single web channel for the consumers. They sufficed them for about a decade or so. But then the functionality that was required out of the web channel itself started to increase exponentially. Newer best of breed technologies such as for specific domain areas such as web analytics started to emerge. The overall enterprise architecture started to become more complex and connected. The monoliths struggled to cope. The core architectures were not built to handle such complexity and demand. Organizations were extending and customizing the e-commerce platform significantly to meet the requirements and align. As the newer touch points such as mobile emerged, then organizations started to build siloed technical stacks. This wasn't giving the benefits to the organizations that they were looking for. Then came the microservices or API approach. This is fundamentally a different approach where systems are modular and separated from each other. Headless platforms are built from the beginning to support omni-channel strategy. Headless platforms talk to each other systems and devices through a centralized API layer. This means that you are free to build your own digital ecosystem or best of breed technologies that align with your own marketing and other requirements without having to look for a single piece of technology that has all the functionality that you need. That is a bit of looking for a unicorn. This in practice means that you are liberated to choose the best of search technology, best of breed for personalization technology, best of breed marketing technology, and you can blend all of it together. And if you don't like any of it, you can swap it for something else and try it out. Since all these technologies have communicate with each other through a common language of API, the swapping becomes easier. The technical attributes of such headless platforms translate into significant business benefits. So for example, elastic scalability means a business, a brand can grow within the same environment and platform from test and learn stage to becoming a big full-fledged business itself. In the microservices approach, there are two choices to be made. You can, on the right-hand side, as you see, there is a pure microservices platform. You can opt to build your own platform, host it, maintain it. This gives you maximum flexibility as each service is built to your specifications and is independent of each other. However, other side of flexibility is complexity. Such platforms come with significant technical overhead in terms of resources, infrastructure, effort, etc. Also, it takes a long time to build such platforms. The market use cases are more aligned with pre-packaged services that are offered by the SaaS vendors. They provide the benefits, all the benefits of microservices-based architecture, but without the technical overhead. You can then build your own digital ecosystem of digital commerce using combination of such headless platforms. Leading industry analysts have predicted that the future of retail lies in significant investment in holistic DTC strategies that adopt composable commerce built with headless platforms of modular technology and functionality. This slide perhaps gives you a feeling of déjà vu. We know that when you try to introduce anything radical in an organization, it is usually greeted with several questions and concerns, which are born out of different perspectives. They are all valid and cannot be ignored. There are two approaches to handle such objections. One of the approach is to take evidence-based, to use evidence-based approach. Do your homework, collect your facts and figures. Such evidence is rarely irrefutable. Such evidence cannot be refuted. The second approach is to align the rationale for your strategy with the organizational values that strategy will deliver. It helps to align and unite the stakeholders behind a common organizational purpose. In conclusion, you have to decide where do you want to be. Even before the pandemic, the traditional brick and mortar retailers suffered onslaught from e-commerce giants like Amazon. Last year, the year of 2020 saw many household names going into administration. Unfortunately, they suffered due to lack of forward thinking. Many brand organizations, however, do have an existing direct-to-consumer strategy. However, it is based on old style, old school e-commerce business model, as well as e-commerce technologies. Both the businesses and technology are working and building silos. Now, these silos can certainly be connected somehow, but the question is that delivering the benefits that you're looking for, and how well it is suited to make you future ready? The option to transform and adopt next generation DTC strategy is the right one. It supports omni-channel strategy, that is the ask for today. But to do that, organizations have to become digitally native. They have to become agile in true sense. It is not sufficient to say, we also do agile. You have to become agile in a holistic manner. You have to break down the silos and work together. There are many best-in-class DTC brands that have set the example, and they are moving from the survive stage to the thrive stage. The call to action is for you to do your blue sky thinking and define the strategy for your organization. Make informed decisions, especially in the area of technology selection. Beware and have a clear understanding of what is true headless and what is Me Too headless. Then also do conversion planning to understand how you will take your organization from where it is to where it wants to be and needs to be. It's important to align people towards a common purpose and so that they are behind the strategy. Above all, get going. The time to act is here and now. If you don't act, then you may be left behind. I would like to close by sharing a quote from Socrates. Though it originated more than 2,000 years ago, it is still relevant today. The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Thank you.
Thanks, Anjali. That was great. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Kelly. The pleasure was entirely mine. And thank you for the opportunity to let me share my thoughts with others.
No, very much appreciated. And for those of you who don't know, Anjali was one of the very first Mock Alliance ambassadors, which is a small, very selective group of folks out there advocating for Mock out there in the industry. So on behalf of the Mock Alliance and Commerce Tools, we really appreciate your evangelism and your sharing of best practices out there across the industry. So thanks again.
Thank you. Again, thank you for inviting me to join Mock Alliance, because it gives me a platform to share my passion and make sure that others also understand about innovation and how to safely introduce it in their organizations.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were going for. It's really a community. It's for like-minded people to share thoughts and learnings from each other. We're just kind of facilitating it. But anyway, first question from the audience. How do you get consensus in such a big distributed organization? There are a lot of enterprises out there who have tens of thousands of employees, lines of businesses. How do you get everyone to agree?
I think it's the size of the company does not really impact when you get people to agree. What impacts is the size of the problem that you are trying to solve. Once you solve that problem, then it's a matter of working with the key stakeholders, aligning them, and then they will do the rest for you. So it's about multiplying influences, and that's the new way of working. That you work in a collaboration and multiply influences by working with others.
Yeah, it's so important. And I've seen so many really, really talented architects who can't sell their vision internally, and then it never goes anywhere, which makes them a not very effective architect. So it's a hard skill to master, but congrats on that. What are some touch points that you're envisioning beyond just web and mobile for direct-to-consumer brands?
It's interesting you should ask me that question, because I studied Mac last year and it was quite exciting. It still is exciting, but I'm looking for what's beyond Mac and where's the world going. And the next generation of marketing is what interests me. And if you look at it, what I read in a book that says that mobile apps and websites, as we know today, are going to be things of the past soon. So we use these devices to reach out to the digital world, whereas the next generation marketing or next generation digital innovation is going to be the digital world reaching to us via our day-to-day devices. It will get embedded in our day-to-day devices and experiences like Internet of Things, smart TV, smart fridges, etc., as well as augmented reality, virtual reality, connected cars, automobiles. So I think that's the next generation, or that's the next thing in the digital era that's going to happen. And I can't wait for that to usher in.
Yeah, no, well said. And I'm really excited. Apple's coming out with these new augmented reality glasses, and they connect over Bluetooth to iPhones, and iPhones will actually provide the horsepower for them. But imagine just being able to look out at the real world and interacting with different products, different content, being able to watch somebody, eat a piece of food and then have the nutrition information pop up in augmented reality. I mean, there's so many exciting use cases out there. And I think long-term people are going to look back on just the web and mobile and say, wow, that was really limiting. How did they survive?
Exactly. Yes. So that's going to be the reality. But having said that, that's going to be a top layer that we'll be interacting with. But we need architectures like Mac architectures to power this front layer with the interaction layer. So that doesn't make, funnily enough, Mac obsolete. It actually makes it all the more important.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. So existing enterprises have a lot of legacy technology, and they have it implemented because it works, especially more of the back office technology. So how do you mix the new mock stuff with the existing legacy? Because obviously you're not just going to throw everything out, right? So how do those two coexist, and how do you make sure that you are investing enough in your existing implementations?
So I think in one of my articles I said is the challenge is not about how we usher in new technology. The challenge is how we make the old and new work together. That's a challenge every enterprise faces, and there's no denying that. Also, I am a Mac fan, but that doesn't mean that it's only Mac and nothing else. So the traditional technology is still useful. It's still going to be there for years to come. And that's why we have to come up with blended architectures, use principles like decoupled architectures, and try and leverage what we already have to work with emerging or new technologies like Mac technologies. Having said that, it's I think I ended my session by saying that don't cling on to the old, try and don't fight with it, try building on new. So I think enterprises also owe it to themselves or their businesses to think about a roadmap or a pathway to usher in new technologies, do it over a period of time, do it in a safe manner, protect your investment, but don't deny new technologies because you are comfortable with the old technologies.
Yeah, and I think that's well said. Very well said. So what makes a consumer brand different, right? So obviously, consumer brands are different from retailers and others, but what's unique to consumer brands specifically, and how do you adopt a mock-based architecture for a consumer brand?
I think when I said consumer brands, it means the brand organizations that are manufacturing those products themselves, and they are adopting direct-to-consumer strategy, which is slightly different to pure retailers who are procuring those products from different brands and selling under their business umbrella. So what is different is the manufacturing organizations or the brand manufacturing organizations have traditionally relied on a B2B type of business model, but they are now all going for a direct-to-consumer business model. It's not just related to revenue generation, but it's also about reaching out to the consumers, and marketing plays a huge part for them in the direct-to-consumer strategy.
Yeah, so it's really about creating an experience-based commerce rather than just selling some products. So that's something we've seen with a lot of our customers, and those adopting Mock more generally. With that, we are out of time for Q&A. Thanks again for joining us. Very much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Kelly.